Hey guys, John here, and I'm going to talk about the Sisters of Mercy. They were one of my favorite bands in the 80s, and I'm going to show a bunch of records, and I'm going to get to see them tomorrow night, or at least Andrew Eldridge, the one remaining member, and it'd be the first time I'm seeing them in, I think, 32 years. So, anyway, I'm just going through the records and stuff. But they were a really, really cool band to me in the 80s. Big metalhead, but like I liked a little bit. I liked the Sex Pistols, the Ramones, and then I got turned on to some of the post-punk stuff like Gang of Four and stuff. I had an older cousin who was like an original wave punk rocker, and he would send me mixtapes. And he sent me one mixtape that had Sisters of Mercy doing "Gimme Shelter," the Stones song, and then "Temple of Love." And those two songs, I mean, it's probably a great tape, but those two songs stuck out to me, and I really got into them. And so I would flip through I would try to ask him what records they had out, and they didn't have any albums yet. And I'd flip through the import section at my local record store because I used to look through there to get the Iron Maiden singles, the 12 inches. And I think these are the order I bought them in. I don't have all the Sisters of Mercy stuff. This is just the stuff I bought when I was a kid. But the first one I got was this 12-inch. Hopefully you can see it. There you go. It's kind of dark and mysterious. And this is the Alice 12-inch. It's got Alice, Floor Show, Phantom, and 1969, the Stooges cover, which was fantastic because I was just learning about the Stooges. I had like the two albums on a cassette tape. Someone taped it for me. So this was all like underground music to me. And this is 1983, A Merciful Release. And there's the awesome label. And I liked them. There was no pictures of the band. I didn't know about them. And each song was like a one-word title: Alice, Phantom, Floor Show. I thought it was really cool. It was almost like getting a Led Zeppelin record where there's no pictures of the band. It was mysterious. And the next one I got, and there it is, Made in England, import, and there's the sticker, $5.99. There's the import, was the Reptile House EP, still in the original shrink. And it's also from 1983, and they had the one-word songs Kiss, Lights, Valentine, Fix, and Burn. Very mysterious and gothy, like they were dark, slow, kind of a brooding band. They had a drum machine, and they were all guitar based. But to my ears, and obviously by the covers they do, they had a reverence for like rock and roll, like 70s rock, like Zeppelin, The Doors, and stuff like that. So I related to more than I related to like the artsy post punk or the the new wavy keyboard stuff, because I was more of a rocker. And what was I going to say? I was going to say something now I don't remember. But they had a drum machine, which was kind of cool, like, so it made it danceable. But drum machine and guitars, I dug it. And I remember my cousin saw them each time they came to New York, maybe the Dance Interior or wherever they played. And he told me the first time, because he had no idea what they looked like, but he loved their records. And he was talking to one of the cats, like in the lobby or the men's room, and he had a British accent. And he didn't know he was in the band, but he's like, oh, you ask him, oh, so you like the Sisters of Mercy? What do you like about them? This and that. So he's talking to this guy. He said he was wearing a Led Zeppelin t-shirt. And, a hour later, he's up on stage. And it was all lights, all smoke. You couldn't see them. And he said they were wearing Zeppelin. I don't know if they all were, but he said, oh, they were wearing Led Zeppelin t-shirts. It was great. And anyway, so this is the next one. I think this is the order I bought them. And they're probably close. These are all 83. I don't know the exact order they came out. But this is Temple of Love, Heartland, and the killer version of Gimme Shelter by the Stones, which, I mean, this stuff sounds dated now, but when you're a kid, it was massive. Gimme Shelter, just like at half speed of the Stones, maybe even slower. And I love each one was just a different color. And then there's this one, which I might have got after I got the record, the album, but this is Body and Soul, Body Electric, Train, and After Hours. Just really awesome cover. With no photos of them. I just loved it. And then when the album came out, actually maybe I had that before the album. I think this is the one I got after the album came out. This is this red one. And this is No Time to Cry, Blood Money, and Bury Me Deep. Sorry about the glare, but that's what it is. They're all in plastic and stuff. And then when this album came out, I bought it right away. And there's Code H, and this is First and Last and Always, their album. And this is where I finally got to see what they looked like. Fantastic. Wayne Hussey, Craig Adams, Gary Marks, and Andrew Eldridge, who's the singer. Andrew's the only original member left. And this is an American pressing. And at one point, I had the British pressing. It was a gatefold. And I sold it because I guess that was a double. I don't know what I was thinking, but I kept the American one. I wish I kept the British one. But either way, this is the one I bought when I was a kid. And then I have a second copy. I don't know how. Probably picked it up through the years. And I love this album. And then at the same time, right around, there was like a cable, not cable, I didn't have cable, but UHF video channel. It was like an MTV ripoff in New York. And they played the video for Black Planet, where they're cruising around the desert in a convertible. It's fantastic. And to see them was great. But this album was just, I felt like this album wasn't as good as the singles, the 12 inches. But this is I love this record. I play this over and over. Marianne, like just depressing, dark, but still like, it's not, I shouldn't say depressing, but dark and brooding, but still rocking. You know, I wouldn't get depressed listening to them or anything. And then they broke up. And I never saw that lineup, never saw them. I was kind of young. And then in between, I think Wayne Hussey, the guitar player, one of the guitar players, went and formed the Mission UK. It was another band I got really into. But I think they wanted to be called the Sisters or Sisterhood. And Andrew Eldridge put out this album called The Sisterhood, just an EP, just to grab the name so they couldn't use it. There was definitely feuding going on. And this had Lucas Fox, James Ray, Patricia Morrison, and Alan Vega from Suicide. And it's just kind of it's more of an electronic thing, but it's pretty cool. But it was a cool release, and it certainly wasn't rock and roll much, but it was interesting. It was a merciful release. It doesn't have the logo, but whatever. And I had this. This is kind of a tight t-shirt, but I bought this in probably around 85. And hopefully I'll wear this tomorrow because we're going to see them for the first time in 32 years, if I didn't say that. But anyway, that was it with the Sisters. And then a couple years later, what year did this be? 87. They're putting out a new album, and it was Andrew Eldridge and Patricia Morrison from the Bags. And anyway, so they had the single This Corrosion came out, and it was very produced, a big to do. And then I think the video came out, and I don't know, I didn't really like it. I mean, I liked it. I was a kid, and I liked everything, but it definitely was not the same band. It didn't sound the same. And that's the Floodland album came out, and this was a bit of a disappointment to me. You know, I still would listen to it. I really liked 1959 was great, and Lucretia, but I don't know. It was a disappointment. I was no longer really a big fan, but I was still a fan, but whatever. And then this is maybe the second single was Dominion after that. And I had some 45s too. I had, this is the Anaconda Phantom 45. And I definitely have the Alice and Floor Show. I have that 45. I just can't find it. I know I had pulled it when I was DJing, so it's in some pile somewhere. But it was a little kind of gold Alice 45. Anyway, so that's that. What was I going to say? Oh, I got this book. Probably around that time, and this was from Italy, and it was Sisters of Mercy. And like back in the old days, you didn't know bands' discographies. There was no internet, and you didn't know what the guys sounded like or half the bands looked like. But this was great. It has the whole history of the band, what they did each year, and it goes through year by year, and it has all their gigs, all their live performances, and it's got all the lyrics to all the songs. But it's got the discography, and they had a single and maybe I knew this, but I'm not sure when I knew it, not right away, but the original single Damage Done Watch from 1980, and that's a big money record. I'd be surprised if it's not close to like $1,000, $800, but that's a killer one. And there's plenty of bootlegs, but this was a time and a place, so I'm not really looking to get it. And this came with a 45 and them doing Ghost Rider, the Suicide number, and then Emma, the Hot Chocolate number. And they own that. They own Emma's a great Hot Chocolate number, but they own the cover, man. So that was really cool. And then the Sisters of Mercy, they broke up, and then Andrew came back with another band with like back to the guitar-based band with guitar players, and one of them was Tony James from Generation X and Sigue Sigue Sputnik, and this was their first single, More. Also, they still had the same design, which I love, and this is down in like 1990. Yeah, 1990. And this is, and you know what? The Vision Thing album, I bought that. This is the full album, and I bought this on CD because now this is like the 90s, and this is when I'm buying CDs. Whoops, and it's broken jewel case, as they all are. And I thought this was all right. I never listened to this much. I remember the song More. Yeah, I kind of by 1990, I'm into way other things. And then just to show it, there's the CD, the original CD of Floodland. And then I also had, because they were my favorite band, I had to have this is the original CD of First and Last and Always. And I also had, just to show this, it's like interview discs, because you didn't know what they sounded like. You didn't get YouTube to see the people, and there was no MTV showing them. And this was like a big interview with Andrew Eldridge, and I remember being really cool. And then I had another one. I think this came in a box, but another interview. I just have it tucked in here. But anyway, in 1991, probably, I saw the Sisters of Mercy, and I was working at the club. I was crew or whatever, and it was at 329. I'm guessing 91, but I don't know. But I was in the bar. I got to see their sound check. And mind you, I'm a fan, but like it was kind of like a band I used to be into. And I saw Andrew Eldridge was at the bar. And the bar wasn't even open. He's just hanging out, and there was no cell phones. He was all by himself. So I went up to him to say, like, hey, you know, I don't know, just to chat, but not to come on like a super fan. There was no one there. He had downtime. The doors weren't open, and the club was empty. And I went, hey, Mr. Eldridge. And he just like blew me off. He just looked this way and blew me off. And like, I wasn't there to yap his ear off or anything. You know, I was just coming on like I was working there. I was just like, hey, and he didn't want to even acknowledge me. And so I was kind of pissed, you know. I'm like, screw that guy. So I waited till later on, and he's hanging out with a bunch of people, and I went back over and I made some sort of comment like, oh, I saw your set you're doing, Give Me Shelter. He's like, yeah, but the Stones blow that away, their version. I made some sort of crack. I can't remember where he was in front of people, so he couldn't respond, but whatever. I just like, screw him, man. Yeah, so I thought he was a real jerk. Then here's a cool bootleg of Black October. This is from Brighton, the Top Rank, October 22. This is a double album. This is really good. Fantastic live show. And they would do great covers. They're doing Knocking on Heaven's Door, the Dylan cover. They would do Ghost Rider by Suicide. So that's like when I kind of discovered Suicide in the mid-'80s. And what else did they do? They did some other great covers. Oh, I got some bootlegs. I was a big fan. I have a VHS bootleg that has like maybe the whistle test, the Gold Gray whistle stop or whatever, whistle test show, like TV performances. It's got like 1 or 2 live concerts and maybe some videos or interviews. I can't remember. It's an old VHS from the 80s, if it even plays, like probably like 4 hours worth of Sisters of Mercy. But this is the old, what is it, the trademark of quality. And this is Ghost Riders. This is an exceptionally a good sounding live show. And you got to look to see the set list. And they used to come with these, and you can see all the bands: Megadeth, The Cure, The Smiths, The Alarm, Roger Waters, Joy Division. And what is this one called? This is called Ghost Riders. Let's see what's on here. Oh, it's going to take now. We're wasting time here. But anyway, they're probably doing I can't find it. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Ghost Riders. This was recorded at Leeds University, March 16th, 1985. And for covers, they did Knocking on Heaven's Door, before Guns N' Roses, of course, and Ghost Rider, the Suicide song, and then Louie Louie. They ended the show with Louie Louie. Great, and it's a great cover of Louie Louie. And this is a good sounding one. Then this one I think is good, not as good sounding, but still pretty good. It was called The Holy Ghost. And let's see what was on this one. The Holy Ghost, they covered Emma, the Hot Chocolate tune, and Gimme Shelter, and Ghost Rider again. And that's trademark quality, which is, these used to be around all the time. They have no songs or artists on it. And then I got another one called Heaven Can Wait, Sisters of Mercy. And this one, they definitely do Stairway to Heaven on it. Let's see the set list. This one, they do Stairway to Heaven and Sister Ray by the Velvet Underground, which was also one of my favorite bands back then. And Emma again. But this is recorded at King George's Hall, Blackburn, March 3rd, 1985. So 4 bootlegs, and I think on that VHS I had some other shows. Maybe a Royal Albert Hall, but I don't know. It was a big show. But anyway, that's my Sisters of Mercy collection, and a whole bunch of us are going out to see them. A whole bunch of us who were fans in the 80s are going tomorrow night to see them, even though I don't expect much, but maybe hearing the old tunes will bring back memories and we'll have fun. And I think that's it. And I mentioned I do have the Alice. I might have the Walk Away 45. I can't remember. I think I have 2 more 45s, which I can't find. But that's the Sisters of Mercy. Cheers.